Let me try to help you understand why Californians are protesting in the street. ICE agents have violently and viciously assaulted and detained people simply because of the color of their skin. Armed to the teeth while shamefully covering their faces, they are conducting raids on businesses. No warrants, not looking for specific people, just rounding up workers at their place of employment, courts, places of worship, raiding elementary school graduations, and trying to forcibly enter elementary school grounds to arrest children. So you agree with this? Then I can't help you. But for those still watching, let me continue giving you some details. After ICE detains someone, can't find them, what will you do if your loved one didn't return from school or work?
Trump is going to truth. Arrest the people in face masks now. That's what he said. You mean these guys? Or how about him? Maybe these individuals. How about these agents? Okay, let's get serious. He's obviously not talking about the ICE agents. He's talking about protesters who have no power whatsoever. When the President of the United States is okay with agents, somebody that is in a position of power to hide their face while they go around locking up people, kidnapping people, terrorizing citizens of the United States.
Family, ICE officials have become rogue, in California. And that is the exact reason why there's been constant demonstrations in California. Imagine sending your kid to school and they do not come back home because they were arrested by ICE officials because of the color of their skin. Imagine your mom not coming back home because she was arrested at her workplace. What is happening right now in California is crazy. These ICE officials do not have a specific target. They do not have a list of people that they are trying to track down. They just come to an organization, look at people, pick people randomly with the color of their skins, and they want to take them. And this has been the reason as to why there's been constant demonstrations in California, because people are saying enough is enough. The funny thing is that the ICE officials do not have a portal where you can go and check if your family member is arrested or not. These people just get lost and you wonder, where is my baby? Where is my sister? Where is my mom? And according to many sources, according to the research I have done, most people are in the streets because they do not know whereabouts of their kids. They do not know where their neighbors went to. Some American citizens have decided that they'll be in the front line to just try and speak up for their neighbors who got lost, to just try and speak up for that immigrant who was actually in the process, of finding or rather making the papers right. It's just becoming unbearable, and people have said enough is enough. It's time that we go to the street and just try and explain ourselves. But right now, when you look at videos, you'll notice that the demonstrations are going rogue. ICE officials and the National Guard are coming, to arrest people, to fight people using a lot of force. And they themselves are wearing masks. So you cannot know the identity of the people you're handling. You do not know if these are officials from the government or these are criminals. That is what is happening right now in California. So guys, I compiled a series of videos of Americans reacting to the situation right now. I want you to watch these videos. Once they are done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch these together, family.
So there's a lot of opinions from people across America about what is happening in my home state of California right now. Let me try to help you understand why Californians are protesting in the street. ICE agents have violently and viciously assaulted and detained people simply because of the color of their skin. Armed to the teeth while shamefully covering their faces, they are conducting raids on businesses. No warrants, not looking for specific people, just rounding up workers at their place of employment, courts, places of worship, raiding elementary school graduations, and trying to forcibly enter elementary school grounds to arrest children. So you agree with this? Then I can't help you. But for those still watching, let me continue giving you some details. After ICE detains someone, can't find them, what will you do if your loved one didn't return from school or work? Maybe you rush to the police station and try to file a missing persons report. And officers tell you that an ICE raid occurred, so you go to the ICE website and search for their name, but you can't find it. So you call the local hospitals thinking maybe they were involved in an accident or had a medical emergency. Nothing, no information. So you grab your loved one's medication and you rush to the ICE office downtown Los Angeles, pay $20 to park and try to get information, but they refuse to give you anything. How would you react? What would you do? Some families go to the last known location and try talking to strangers, looking at their videos and pictures, hoping to see their loved one. This is why we need everyone at the scene witnessing, taking photos and videos of the crime scene. Let's say you see a photo of your loved one being dragged out of their workplace or car. Now you need an attorney. Can you afford one? The fact is, ICE doesn't care about human life. They care about quotas, plain and simple. ICE doesn't update the database purposely because the priority is to fast track and disappear people. No due process. Their mission, block access and information at all costs. So they move people around, smoke and mirrors, so you can't trace where your loved one is being held. And if you're lucky enough to find them, they will move them again and disappear them again. It is a shell game, but with humans, adults, and children. Keep up the pressure, California. Peacefully protest. Be a witness. Write down details. Use your phone to take pictures and videos. Most of all, stay strong. We're in this together.
Hey, what's up, America? Los Angeles, California protesters being arrested using facial recognition technology and drones. So over the last couple of days, several people have been throwing rocks at police officers, spitting on them, and destroying police cars. But unbeknownst to a lot of protesters, there have been police drones with facial recognition technology that have been flying over the crowd the entire time. On top of that, a great deal of video evidence is being analyzed by the FBI and the Attorney General's office, and guess what? Now people are being federally charged for hitting police officers and destroying property that they didn't think they were being watched. And so now several people that have been throwing rocks at police officers and federal agents, one of them throwing cinder blocks, have all been arrested. They were able to use the drones that were flying over the area to see people's faces and also identify them by their tattoos, with the Attorney General saying that pretty much your tattoos are just as good as a license plate. And people that were looting were also being rounded up, now facing a maximum of 20 years in prison. To which Attorney General Pam Bondi says, yep, we're going to go for that sentence. So yeah, that's happening. The only time I'm aware that a police state could be used for good.
Trump is going to truth. Arrest the people in face masks now. That's what he said. You mean these guys? Or how about him? Maybe these individuals. How about these agents? Okay, let's get serious. He's obviously not talking about the ICE agents. He's talking about protesters who have no power whatsoever. When the President of the United States is okay with agents, somebody that is in a position of power to hide their face while they go around locking up people, kidnapping people, terrorizing citizens of the United States. And we don't know who they are. That's fascist. And we are that much closer to what happened during Nazi Germany.
The National Guard is in Los Angeles, which means the National Guard, which was federalized because the federal government went over the state, went over the senator, deployed 2,000 National Guard members into Los Angeles, which means that we invoked, without invoking the Insurrection Act, which then would mean that we're yay close or at martial law, which would then mean that if they do what they're trying to do, which is send in the Marines, that we would be attacking our own people for protesting, which is a right, which would then mean that we are yay close or at civil war. I think this is the time, if no other time, to remember what was said when this election happened to these guardsmen, to the National Guard, to these soldiers. Remember your oath. Your oath is to the people. Your oath is to the people. And you have a right to go against orders if those orders are not right. I don't know if anyone else was paying attention during school, during class, during history, during anything at all. But this is bad. This is like worst case scenario.
So if you woke up today and saw that the National Guard was here in Los Angeles, let me tell you something. They're going to be here and they're going to be doing a whole bunch of nothing. Like the governor said, like the mayor said, like the chief of police here in LA said, we don't need troops on the ground. But as we predicted, the Taco Man is telling the masses that he has taken the precautions he needed to protect the citizens and protect Americans, and a bunch of BS. That is not true. If the situation was so bad, if he is so concerned, why did he go to a UFC fight last night? Him and Marco Rubio were having a grand old time while supposedly radical leftists were taking over the city of Los Angeles. What's going to happen is they are going to continue grandstanding. They are going to continue to look worse. The White House has reported that they want to continue ICE activities here in California for the next 30 days. That's going to waste time. It's going to waste money. And guess what? They're not going to ever get the results. They're not going to get the numbers they keep promising everybody. They're going to waste all of this manpower for 30 days. Military manpower in a United States city for 30 days. Nothing is going to come from a military presence being here for 30 days. But I'm going to tell you what they will try to do. Somewhere near the end of that 30 days, there is going to supposedly be another incident, something that will justify them keeping the military in this area. They are still setting up to make things worse. They are still setting up to go after American citizens and justify it. It's so funny how so many people cheer this on and say that this is something they voted for. But you didn't have any of this smoke during January 6th. In fact, somehow you figured out how to blame Nancy Pelosi. But conservatives only like seeing this stuff happen in cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, blue cities, because they are afraid to even visit these places. The world is watching what's going on, and despite what they are going to try and sell you on television, that this is a necessary precaution to keep the peace in Los Angeles, all they're doing is making a mess, wasting money, wasting time, and they are getting nowhere. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know what desperation and cowardice looks like, take a look at the president. Take a look at the man who actually thinks it's a good idea to put military troops in an American city.
The LA ICE raids are weird because wasn't California literally Mexico at one point? Like, it was literally Mexico. That's just what it was at one point. And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, it's not Mexico anymore. Right, but just because you guys move an imaginary line of a border and say that this is where people can and can't be, doesn't mean that everyone just moved with that border. First of all. Second of all, borders are made up and they're not real and it's an illusion. It's literally an imaginary line drawn to say you can be here, but you can't be here because we own this land, but nobody really owns the land on this world. Like, who actually owns the land for real? Like, think about that. Like, there's actually no ownership of the land itself because we're human beings. Like, it's just in our mind. It's a concept of we own this land. Animals don't think that way in nature, just naturally. Anyway, all the raids are honestly ridiculous, but I just keep thinking about the LA ones and how literally California was Mexico. And just because y'all put an imaginary border somewhere doesn't mean that the people moved with the imaginary border. Number one. Number two, it's just really getting to a crazy point because you guys know what you're doing by going to Southern California in the first place. And then it's like the other bottom half of California is literally Mexico to this day. So I don't understand that. It's not making sense to me at all.
Donald Trump said, hey, Governor Newsom, since you can't keep your citizens safe during these damn ICE riots, I'ma send 2,000 National Guard members to come get on that ass. Hopefully you'll be old scum afterwards. Why are y'all acting like ICE just up and decided to deport people? Donald Trump won the presidency, and not only that, he told y'all what he was gonna do. He even gave illegals the option to self-deport and get a check if you didn't do that shit. Shame on you. I'm genuinely trying to think of the thought process here. Do you think causing chaos, committing more crimes is gonna keep you in the country? Did y'all see that one dude circling around that burning car on the motorcycle waving the Mexican flag? Nigga, what does that do for your case? Send him right now. Like, how does that fucking help you? You're a fucking arsonist. Also, ICE isn't deporting U.S. citizens. ICE is deporting illegals. Why are we acting like ICE is the problem here and not the people who, I don't know, didn't get their citizenship? Didn't get a visa to pull up? They just crawled through the desert or snuck through like a goddamn criminal. ICE is simply a form of accountability for every illegal that decided to come into America illegally.
Now they're saying that the protests aren't peaceful because they're planting people at the protest to instigate the situation. This man was on here earlier and he said that they were throwing cinder blocks through cars and they were vandalizing things. Isn't this the same thing that happened during BLM back in 2020? Y'all remember who the president was during that time, right? This is what they do. This is in their playbook. They instigate a situation. Then when people try to have peaceful protest, they deem them violent because they strategically plant individuals with masks on to make these protests violent. And they did the same thing during the BLM. And during that time, people were saying that we were violent. They said we weren't peaceful protesting when we were. But there were individuals there who were setting fires. There were individuals there who were throwing bottles of, I believe, like Mai Tais or whatever, through windows of stores and whatnot. It's the same thing. They do this. This is in their playbook. They're using these individuals as an example for something that they're going to focus on later. They're just trying to see how far they can get in this.
It is 1:30 in the morning East Coast time. On Temu Twitter an hour ago, which would have been midnight 30 East Coast time, Donald Trump posted these two posts. Arrest the people in face masks now, in all caps. Looking really bad in LA, bring in the troops. This 78, about to be 79-year-old man in his sundowning after midnight, going crazy on Temu Twitter, who has full authority to put troops on the ground, as you just witnessed him do in LA, is now trying to justify bringing more troops, bring in Marines from 29 Palms. Listen, all the protests were peaceful until he escalated. And a lot of these escalations, because see, I've been to a lot of protests. I was at all the protests in not all, but I was at a bunch of protests in 2020. And I witnessed people come in out of nowhere who weren't with us, who weren't with the group, who would break things and set things on fire and purposely agitate things. He is agitating the situation to justify this lockdown of LA by troops. And if we let him get away with it, we just wrote the blueprint for the rest of the country.
Can somebody please tell me how this is a good idea? How in the world do you advocate coming to another country illegally and also wave the flag that you are running from? If you are here illegally and you're in the streets fighting with federal agents, bro, this is an act of war. This is not even just no regular stuff anymore. This is an act of war. And the Americans that are out there, and we know it's liberals that are out there and Democrats that are helping these people fight against their own, they should be taken to. Go ahead and snatch up their citizenship and ship them off too. Because who in the world does that? There is no way I would go inside of China, beg China to take me in, all while having an American flag. Come on, man. We got to get stricter as a country because we look weak in so many different ways. There is no other, I would say, developed country, no powerhouse country would allow half of the stuff that is going on with immigration like it is in the United States. This is insane at this point.
ICE is not interested in deporting criminals. ICE wants to deport your neighbor, the teenager who just graduated from high school, the mothers, the daughters, the babies. They're ratcheting up their operations. Local police are helping them, like what just happened in Worcester. And they are picking up immigrants who have done nothing to deserve it. This is mass deportation, and this is a police state.
Forcing Latino creators to speak out against ICE and against the administration is fucking weird. I'm sorry, but like somebody had to say it. Like trying to bully someone into speaking out is weird because then they're only speaking out because you are threatening to cancel them. And then it's not even a genuine, like they don't genuinely care. I feel like, to be honest, speaking out costs money. When people speak out about social justice issues, it creates division, right? Because at the end of the day, everything's about business. And brands do not want to work with someone that is creating a division in their audience. They rather work with someone that is neutral on everything. And some people rather have that. And I get it. I freaking get it, okay? Because ever since I started talking about this stuff, my brand deals have tanked, okay? So I get it. I really do. I really do. I really do. I'm going to be honest. I really freaking do. But I am Mexican, and my mom came here as an immigrant, so I feel like I'm very close to this issue, and just in general, like, it's really hard for me to see things that are going wrong and not speak out against them. Even if they don't directly actually affect me, I'm always going to speak out. Like, that's just the kind of person I am. However, not everybody's like that. So pressuring someone to speak out about something that only because they are in fear of getting canceled is weird. I don't know. I feel like you should just let people be who they are. And, you know, if you choose to support them, you do. And if you don't, then you don't. But I don't know. Like, forcing people's hands on these kind of issues is just a waste of time. Like, there are bigger battles that need to be fought. And I don't know. That's just me. I think it's weird. I don't know. Let me know what you think.
Y'all, take the whole immigration side out of this, because some of y'all can't get over the whole immigration side of it. I need y'all to understand what is happening right now. Against the wishes of the governor of California, the president of the United States has federalized National Guard troops to put down a protest in California against what the governor has directly asked him to do. This is not one of the biggest protests we've ever seen. This is not some major protest. There is nothing to warrant this level of escalation, and we have never seen something like this in modern American history to do this against the wishes of the governor. This is a dangerous precedent to let be set. I need y'all to look past the immigration side of this and understand what is going on. The president is deploying military forces to put down a protest. That is what he is doing. And if that is allowed to become the precedent, if we do not protest this now and call this out and condemn this, if this is allowed to be set in stone, this will happen again. And the requirements and that threshold gets lower and lower every time it happens, until it becomes the norm that anytime there is a protest, the military gets sent in. And do you know what type of government you get to? When the military gets stepped in, anytime there's a protest, think about what type of government that is. let's just say we have invaded countries that have gotten to that kind of government before. And we are now perpetuating that exact thing here in the United States. Nothing about this. I don't care about the immigration side of it. That is a red herring that doesn't matter. The truth of what is going on is that the president of the United States is currently using military forces as a policing activity against the will of the governor of that state. This will happen again if it is allowed to become precedent, and that requirement, that threshold, like I said, it gets lower and lower and lower every time. And you may think it doesn't matter now. What if something happens that you don't like? All right, the government should never be using military forces to stop people from expressing a First Amendment right to freedom of speech and freedom of protest. I don't care that there has been some violence in the protests. None of that justifies this level of escalation that we have now seen out of the federal government. This is a dangerous thing to do, and it is going to get even worse soon.
So now we know ICE's tactic. ICE is going to start raiding different sanctuary cities, and they're going to be met with citizens coming up against them in protest. That's where they're going to call for help. Similar to what we saw tonight in downtown Los Angeles, ICE got themselves in a bit of a pickle. They started to round up people in their normal raid fashion. They got blocked in. They couldn't get themselves out. Citizens had them backed up into this sort of corner store, and they had to call in for help. That's when SWAT came in, the FBI, and now we've got downtown LA police trying to move people out of the downtown central area. This is the strategy. Instead of thinking, oh, sanctuary cities, they're not going to help us round up and raid all of these different facilities and different places that we can round up people for ICE. No, they're going to go in there with limited resources in sanctuary cities, and they're going to try to do their raids. They're going to be met with citizens that are protesting them. They're going to get barricaded in, and then they're going to call, please, 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 help us, help us. We need help getting out because the citizens have surrounded us. And that's when they're going to get the help from the police departments in those sanctuary cities. Instead of the sanctuary cities not assisting ICE, they're going to be called in after the fact, because more and more people are going to start coming out against ICE and surrounding them. They're not going to be able to get out. That's their tactic is, we can't have them help us because they say they're not going to help us, but we can have them help us get out of the jam that we put ourselves in.
Trump's going to need a lot more than 2,000 National Guard units and 500 Marines to do anything in LA. And you want to know why? This city right here is Watts, and in 1965, they had the infamous Watts Rebellion, which was a massive riot. The state sent in 15,000 National Guard troops, and it took them 6 days to pacify that city. There were 30,000 residents. It is 2 square miles. This that you see behind me is the greater LA area. This is where ICE is currently conducting its operations. And to this massive 4,000 square mile, 10 million resident metropolis, they sent 2,000 National Guardsmen and 500 Marines. Do the math. That's 1 troop for every 4,000 Angelinos. You could walk through most of LA and never see one. Back then, they occupied a neighborhood. Today, they are trying to police a metropolis with a fraction of the force. And here's the truth. With this few troops, there's literally nothing that they could do. So let's see this for what it is. An intimidation tactic, a headline grabber. They are not here to keep the peace. They're here to make you second guess your voice. But we won't. We need to stay calm, first off, but we need to keep protesting peacefully because these troops change nothing. They are here to make us afraid, but here's what they forgot. They're insignificant compared to the power of the people. Treat them with respect because some of them don't even want to be here. But don't let them scare you because nothing can keep us from raising our voices peacefully, powerfully, and together.
Two reporters covering the LA protests today were shot with rubber bullets by law enforcement. This was not a mistake. They were seen clearly reporting and then targeted. Don't believe me? Watch this.
Firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA.
That Australian reporter was standing alone, clearly on a microphone with a camera crew. The law enforcement officer saw her, looked at her, and then aimed at her. You wonder why we don't want any law enforcement to have masks on? Law enforcement is targeting the press, and then this evening they escorted CNN out.
You guys are under arrest because you're with press, okay?
Okay.
Come back, okay?
Do not come back.
Do not come back, okay?
Got it.
What I need from you is to put your hands behind your back. They're going to walk you.
Law enforcement does not want anyone to know what's going on. They want ICE to be able to wear masks in case ICE commits crimes. They are escorting press out of the protests. They are trying to intimidate and scare members of the press. This is the beginning of authoritarianism.
Family in any democratic country, its citizens have the power to go on the streets and demonstrate and picket peacefully, But what we've been seeing in the recent days in California is saddening. We've seen people being arrested. We've seen people throw stones in police cars. We've seen people burn other cars. We've seen people being arrested. And family, I myself do understand them very, very much, because it is so sad that people are being arrested and you do not know their whereabouts. There are no any warrants for arrest right now in California. People just come to your home and pick a kid randomly, pick a mother randomly. Imagine the damage that this is causing to the family unit in that state. That's why people are agitated. That's why people want to go to the street, explain themselves, and tell them that, you know what, enough is enough. This is wrong. We've been going through a lot of these issues. We've been going through a lot of these undocumented arrests. If we go and check for our family members' names, we would not see them. It's becoming crazy and crazy as days goes by, and there's a lot of reactions online. Some people are in support of the demonstration, while others are saying that people shouldn't demonstrate. I understand the people of California, because they know very well how much they've been affected by the ICE raids. From the outer look, you could be somewhere different, and you could be that person who's wondering, why are these people in the streets? Why are you in the streets if indeed you're an immigrant? You're in a country illegally. Why are you in the streets? Some people would ask that question. But the people of California are in the street. According to the knowledge I've gotten from this series of videos, these people are in the street because of the raids. The raids that are actually not warranted. They just come and pick people randomly, and that is so bad. They've been having a goal for mass deportations, and I think it's an order from above that now they just come and take you by force. They do not care. They use a lot of force, which at times, is against the law. We are all human beings, man. We are not insects. We are not flies. You cannot just come and pick up somebody and just make them get lost, and their families cannot trace them. That is so wrong. So when you look at it from an outer perspective, you'll see the people of California demonstrating, and you say that they are going rogue. These people are too much. Why do you demonstrate and you're an immigrant? You at times you do not get the connection. But family, it is unfair. It is very, very unfair. There can be ways where these arrests can be made so well with a lot of organization. I imagine if they had names, they just go knock into the neighborhood, ask for example, I want Evans Raiola. You should not be in the country. You're here illegally. Then now if they arrest you and your name is in their systems, it's easier even to trace. I do not support illegal immigrants in any case, but at the same time, these are human beings. They should be handled well. In any country, illegal immigrants are always against the law. And many countries do have policies to ensure, especially for a country of the status of the United States of America, everybody wants to go and chase the American dream. So you can get these countries flocked with a lot of these immigrants. Look at the state of Nebraska. People are running away. Most of these farms in Nebraska were being, the labor came from these immigrants. Right now, the state of Nebraska is counting losses because now that state fully depends on agriculture, and the people who are ready to be paid the low wages were immigrants. The locals cannot fathom to be paid those prices, you know. So at times people do need each other. I really wish the government of the United States of America, through its able leader Donald J. Trump, could have come with a better solution for this situation, because myself, I wouldn't see bloodshed as a president. I'd just come up with ways that would ensure that these people get out of the country, you know, in a proper way. I'd give out visas, give out short-term visas, just to ensure that the people finish up with the work they are doing in the time, then leave, you know, by yourselves. Just move out of the country instead of perpetuating a lot of war that we are seeing right now. We are sure in a few days we'll start reporting deaths. I have been to such a demonstration in Kenya. It was crazy. It actually went down to be the worst demonstration ever in the history of Africa in June of 2024, when Kenyans were demonstrating against the finance bill of the year 2024, which indeed wasn't a good one for its citizens. And people went out. People actually breached the parliament of Kenya, and it was crazy, man. It was crazy. I know what it takes to go to the street. I know what this could result in, especially right now when you're seeing National Guard officials also being brought in the streets. The other day, Trump dispatched 2,000 of them. And family, it is so, so sad. I really hope that God protects and that God blesses Carlifonia, and that this should soon end, and the government could come up with an amicable solution that would ensure that there are no any bloodshed, and people can easily reach to a consensus, especially with the ICE officials and how they tackle, you know, their raids, because when they continue the same way, it can be unbearable in a few months. In a few days, it will be crazy. Soon, it will be a war zone, because now it's becoming too much. Guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this video. Kindly do consider subscribing to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and guys, we cannot do it without your support. Thank you, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.